Hello, my name's Lorna Stimpson, Chief Executive of LABC. LABC represents all local authority building control teams in England and Wales, together employing nearly 4,000 professionals. This week, the government published its Building Safety Bill. Although the bill only lays out the framework and enabling powers to implement a new approach, it's clear that the impact on building control in England will be considerable. The review of building safety in England was triggered by the Grenfell disaster and was led by Dame Judith Hackett. Her recommendations were radical and extensive because she saw that the old building control system had become fundamentally flawed by competition, design and build, value engineering, an industry not only choosing its own regulator but also deciding how much regulation they were willing to accept and how much they were willing to pay for it. It was the opposite of the culture and practices that should exist. The Building Safety Bill lays out the pillars of reform, not the full details. These will follow in subsequent secondary legislation. Virtually every aspect of the system to design, specify, procure, construct, hand over and manage onward occupation has been addressed. This goes right down to knowing how competent the professionals are working on buildings and the use of gateways to stop progress until approval has been given to proceed. Added together, all these changes are as dramatic and impactful as the introduction of the 1984 Building Act. My message today is that leaders and senior managers in all local authorities in England need to understand these changes. And please don't make the mistake of thinking that because you don't have high-rise tower blocks, it won't affect you. It will affect all local authority building control teams. From now on, building control can't be treated as a Cinderella service, more or less paying its own way. The HSE has been put in a new controlling position to oversee building control. Functioning as the building safety regulator, it will take control of building regulation applications on in-scope buildings and assign them to local authorities. It'll appoint a lead surveyor onto high-risk projects, possibly from the building control team. All building control surveyors will have to prove their competence by regular examination and assessment, and they will have to be licensed in order to practice for all building control work, not just work in scope. Local authority building control will be expected to work according to defined standards, following defined processes, and will be measured regularly by the regulator. Powers and sanctions will be increased dramatically through the regulatory provision of building control by local authorities. Just like the CDM regulations, defined roles and legal responsibility will be introduced for those commissioning and managing scope buildings. Local authorities and individual building control surveyors will be responsible and legally culpable for their decisions. The impact on these changes on all English local authorities will be huge. Teams will need investment and additional learning. Local authority legal risk will increase. Resourcing, competence, standards and resilience will need to be provided to the right level. There'll be a knock-on into recruitment, employment, retention and succession planning, especially as the national shortage of surveyors, and especially high-risk competence surveyors, affects salaries and the grading of officers in local authorities. As James Jamieson, Chair of the Local Government Association and Conservative leader of Central Bedfordshire Council, reported in The Guardian recently, it's estimated that councils will face costs of up to £6 billion to tackle the crisis this year. And so I'm very aware that explaining the need for investment in people and the building control service in particular has come at the wrong time. But that doesn't take away the need to ensure public safety, and the fragility of the old system means that change has to happen. So it's not all about tower blocks. You'll have seen the frequent news items reporting fires in care homes, small blocks of flats, student accommodation, balcony fires, and many involving the loss of entire buildings. The system has become too lax and it has to be put right. Over the coming weeks, we'll keep communicating with you about what needs to be done. We'll explain how LABC and the Joint Regulators Group, chaired by the HSE, can help and guide you. LABC knew this was coming and has created lots of support, much of it free, to make your implementation easier, faster and less costly. And meanwhile, if you want to find out more, please contact me so that my team can help you. Thank you.